Here are 10 accessories for guitar that I recommend for beginners, and it just so happens they make great gifts. So something I've come to learn over the years is that I'm impossible to buy for when it comes to guitar gifts. And the reason is, I tend to just buy everything I need. If you have a friend or a loved one that is also starting to play guitar, it could also be hard to buy gifts for them, mainly because they just don't understand yet what do you need to play guitar. There are so many things out there and it can be very overwhelming. So I made this little video to show you 10 things that I use that will benefit anybody starting to play guitar. If you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Anyways, let's get into it. So my first accessory is this. This is the Music Nomad drill grip. It's a very simple device. You put it on a drill. It's a drill bit. This is perfect for when you start getting into changing strings. So instead of just winding it by hand, you can put it on a drill and just wind it quickly. It's really cheap. They're like 13 bucks. You can get ones that have tuners built in. I would never use that personally, but I mean, you can upgrade if you want. This is all I need and I use it quite a bit. So accessory number 2 by Planet Waves is the guitar dock. This is a really handy thing that you can pack up if you play on the go, if you do a lot of jamming. Basically, it's a guitar stand that you clip on a desk or you can clip it on an amp. Got a little grip, you just tighten it onto your desk and voila. This is great if you're working somewhere or playing somewhere that you need a stand but you don't want to pack a stand. You can actually just throw this in your guitar case. You can even like turn it sideways and then clip it onto an amp like so. This is a bad amp for that. But anyways, and you can put it that way. The only thing I don't like about this is the flaps. I wish they were more flappy, but I guess they have to be secure so your guitar doesn't fall out. I guess that would ruin the purpose. This little guy goes for about 30 bucks. Anyways, I just realized that I need a haircut, so you can see why I wear them all in my videos. Let's talk about picks. Yeah, you can buy these in bulk. They're really handy. I use the 88mm Jim Dunlop Toilex. That's my favorite. And then I also have like a nylon 73mm that I like to use as well. You can never have enough picks. If you're starting out, you're probably going to find that you misplace them everywhere. I'm not a fan of having that sticky pick clip on my guitars because I just don't like it. But as a result, I'm always looking for picks. So I buy these in bulk. You can buy them on Amazon for pretty cheap. I think like 12 bucks or something like that for a pack, and you get like 50 of them. If you have kids, I totally recommend buying them in bulk. The other day I came home and my daughter decided to like glue these to a Bluey picture she made. I'll put links below so you can see what I like, but there's so many great picks out there. I don't think you have to spend too much money on picks. They're all roughly the same, even when they say they're not. The next accessory is the tried and true guitar strap. You can never go wrong buying somebody a guitar strap. I have so many guitar straps. There's a couple that I really recommend. So you can go online and you can get a Levi's guitar strap for, I mean, they range from 30 bucks to like 60 bucks, depending on what you want. I like the leather and the padding, especially if you're standing for a long period of time. I have like some heavy guitars, so a good strap is really helpful. Jim Dunlop makes some really nice ones. D'Addario makes some really nice ones. And those two are pretty affordable, so a good strap is something I would recommend. If they're too cheap, sometimes they fray or they're uncomfortable. They'll start to give you a little bit of a neck rash, or even worse, they'll wear at where you clip in your guitar and then you have the issue of it. Speaking of dropping your guitar, this brings me to the next accessory, which is some really good set of strap locks. This just adds a little bit more protection when it comes to protecting your guitar, especially when you're moving around on stage. Sometimes, and this has happened to me, where the strap gives, your guitar falls, and it sucks. There's some really good ones on the market. These are the Schaller locks. I've had this one on here forever. I use this for my Gibsons. And another brand that I would recommend is the Jim Dunlop. I use those on my Fender. And the reason why is I don't use one for all is because I have different height settings depending on which guitar I have. I tend to play the Gibsons a little bit higher, where the Tallies and the Strats are a little bit low. So the nice thing is I just clip them on. If I want to swap another guitar, off, clip on, and they're ready to go. Another really cool accessory is this. This is a loop pedal. This is the cheapest one that you can buy on Amazon. It does the job. I use this solely for practicing. If you're not sure what a loop pedal does, basically it samples you playing and then loops that back so you can play over top of it. And it's really handy, especially if you're in the beginning stages where you're like learning to play to a click track, or you're just trying to establish a little bit of a feel. Using a loop pedal can be very helpful. And like I said, this is the cheapest one that I found. I think it was $68, but if you want to spend a little bit more, the Boss Loop Station is fantastic. There's a lot of them out there. Speaking of pedals, there's two other pedals I would recommend. The first one is a tuner pedal. You can get a tuner app and put it on your phone, and I use that sometimes too when I have to, but I like having a tuner in my chain just because it's right there. It also acts as a bypass, so if I need to cut my amp on stage quickly, I can just click it. We're good. So depending on what you get, I use the Polytune, which is a very neat pedal, but there's also the Boss Chromatic Tuner, which also acts as a power supply, I believe. I haven't used one in forever, but it was a really cool pedal. It's a classic. The other pedal that I recommend is the MXR Dynacomp. This has been a staple in a lot of guitar players' pedal collections. It's One of those pedals that I didn't think about for a long time, but when I started doing session work and seeing how people used it, I was like, I gotta get me one of those. It's a compressor. So if you're looking at smoothing out some of your playing, if you're doing a lot of like chicken picking or just soloing in general and you want to have very even notes, it's really handy. You don't have to worry about attack release. You don't have to worry about ratios. That's all set for you. So anyways, that one's a little bit more on the pricey side. I think it's $145 Canadian. So it's probably like, what would that be American? Like $100? Oh, number 9, I recommend guitar capos. There's a lot of different kind of capos out there. These are really handy. Basically, the way it works is you would put it on your guitar and it just acts as a way of adjusting the nut so you can voice different chordings higher up the neck. Very useful. You can get some really cool sounds this way. There's a lot of capos out there. I use the Jim Dunlop capos. I've used these for like 20 years. I used to have more of them. They're not expensive. This one I found. But there's new brands out there that I have not tried yet. I think there's one called the G7 Performance, which is like $70. One common issue you will have with the capo is that when you put it on your neck, because it bends the string a specific way, it can change the intonation a little bit. So apparently the G7 Performance doesn't do that. I don't know how. I haven't even checked it out. I'll put a link below. Maybe you can tell me. So this brings me to my last recommendation, and it's this guy right here, the Boss Katana. A good amp really can make a big difference when it comes to your playing. I find if it's a shitty sounding amp, you're probably not going to pick it up as much. I'm looking at you, Fender frontman. Whereas something like this sounds amazing, and these aren't that expensive. This has a lot of great sounds, it's portable. You could use it on a gig if you really wanted to. Boss did a great job building this amp. It's been around now for a while and it still is getting a lot of praises. So I'll have a link below, check it out. It's great. Anyways, thank you very much. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you find some cool gifts for the guitar players in your life, maybe for yourself. That's what I do. Anyways, thank you very much and I'll see you guys later. Take care.